acting is all about playing with paradoxes, really. We're trying to pretend to be something, but make it seem really real and natural at the same time, which is kind of funny, and if it's funny, they'll like it even more. So where do you start? Chances are right now you've probably got a script in front of you. Or not, you know, sometimes you just gotta practice at improv. And how do you practice at improv except doing it everywhere? But anyway, I figure the thing that'll help you the most, at least starting out, is finding really good ways to express yourself and kind of keep yourself in the mindset of trying to create a character. Now, what I'm trying to say through that is that anybody that picks up a script, right, think about it like this. That's just a tool, right? That's not a play. Anybody studying a play anywhere, that's not how it was meant to be, in a book or on a page or something. These are meant to be performed. And that's the funny part, right? Because when you perform something, you can have something performed 10 different times, have it different every single time, and still have it be great. You know, it all comes down to interpretation, different quirks people add to it, that sort of thing. So how do you figure out what to do? Especially since some cases there won't even be a script. You'll just have to jump into it and be right in the moment. And that's really key. Always be in the moment, happening right now. Because if you forget the lines, you know, like they say, the show's gotta go on. So you kind of have to have a second mindset, I figure. You gotta think of this character in your head that's kind of like a parallel to yourself, right? Because you got yourself here, and you're nervous, and whatever. You got the words in your head, you've memorized it all. But on the second side of things, you've got this whole stack of rules, we'll say, right? This is your character. This is how he moves, this is what he thinks, this is what he wants, this is what he's doing. He's got some goals, this is what he's going to do to achieve them, that sort of stuff. But what it really boils down to is how does this character express himself in a way that makes sense? Because I'll tell you, I've had some practice being a director, and what makes sense from a director and an actor is that everything you do has to have a reason. If your character's on stage pacing back and forth, you know, not only is that just a bunch of movement to mess with people's eyes, but it's got to have a reason, right? If I'm talking to you right now and my hands are flying up and down, you know, there's got to be a reason for it, right? And I'm not even just talking motivations here, people. You know, expressions, you know, making your face seem more animated, stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily follow through for everything. On stage, sure, because you've got an audience of people that can only see so much from wherever their seats are. So yes, you've got to be a bit more expressive, you know. You've got to talk and project yourself towards your audience. But again, if you just have a camera in front of you, that's not an issue. Because obviously everyone's going to see you. There's no problem there. You know, television's different. The medium's the message, they say. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's say you've got a script to work with, right? You've got dialogue, you've got maybe some stage directions, but after that, a lot of it comes down to interpretation. So I think the best place to do, let's pretend you have a script first of all, is you got to read through it, at least once or twice, try to get in the headspace of your character. He said that to this person. Okay, why? Does he not think very much of them? Well, if he doesn't think very much of them, if that's true, then there's certain ways you can say those words. You know, like, oh, yeah, I believe you. You know, you can make stuff sarcastic. It doesn't need to say it's sarcastic in the script. That's how you can play it. But I think what helps the most, because obviously there's like infinite possibilities of ways you can play different characters. You know, if you're going to an audition or something, they say the best thing you can do is try to have in your head, you know, the kind of vision the director's going to have in his head. Well, there's not really a way you can study ahead for that. So I figure, just read into it what makes the most sense to you or the best way that you can play it. Because people have different strengths and weaknesses, right? I've heard time and time again, I'm the kind of actor that kind of has a weird positive aura, right? I'm not the kind of dominating and strong-voiced guy. I'm kind of more for comedy, I suppose, or so I'm told. I'm not trying to say, put yourself in a niche. I'm just trying to say try and play to your strengths. That's why when you go to an audition, it's a really, really good idea to kind of have an idea of what character you want to play. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the main guy, right? Because the thing about a play is it's a group effort. You know, there's a lot of characters involved, and the best thing you can do is, you know, play your part the best you can. That's why, you know, sometimes the best thing you do is go to, like, past directors you've had and be like, oh, why did you cast me in this role? Sometimes it might be just, you know, you had the right facial structure. You know, you were the right height. Or you just had something that, you know, made you have this role over somebody else, and that was, you know, the way you had certain facial expressions. It just added to his attitude or something. Because what we have, right, is in a script is just, it's like bones, okay? And you've got to throw in your emotions and your expressions, and it all forms together into the kind of character you are. Now, if you're doing improv, the best thing, like I said, is to kind of be in the moment. Improv for me is almost one of the hardest things in my head space to wrap my head around, because I always want to get better at doing it because it's amazing, it's fun, you're in the moment. Somebody throws something at you, you work with it and throw it right back, and when it works, it's absolutely hilarious. And the only way to make it work is to keep trying. You know, you gotta be relaxed and open to whatever comes at you. And, you know, pow pow. Somebody has a suggestion, go with it. You know, make the action keep going. You know, plays are all about high energy and excitement. That's how you keep people's attention, right? So the best thing going on is, you know, the director picks the people that are the best for those parts, and they figure that out, and you help each other out, and oh my gosh, acting is like a big group project where everybody's sort of a bit like a family, right? Because you play off of how they act, and they play off how you act, and oh, it's great. Don't try to control everybody, because everybody's got a different vision. The best thing you can do is, you know, get to know the people you're acting with. You know, they all become your friends one way or another. That's one reason why I love it so much. But did I already talk about how movement was really important? You know, everything's got to have a reason. But for goodness sakes, you know, if everybody is animated and exciting and, you know, everybody is worth paying attention to, that's how it should be. Let's see here. I did write a little script for myself just to keep things together, because there's so much to say, really, when it comes to acting, that I gotta give myself a little bit of, I suppose, props here and there to figure out what I'm doing. So yeah, if you've got a script, kind of figure out what the words are suggesting about your character, you know. Is he really friendly? How's he gonna act? And think about, you know, character development. People in honest conversations that they have with other people, you know, they're animated. Emotions can fly off the handle. You might be, you know, happy at the start of the conversation, something comes up and bam, you know, there go your spirits. Oh my god, you know, the daily grind, you know, I just want to kill everybody I meet. You know, just, not me, personally. That was just an example. But just, you know, be dynamic. You know, be expressive. But it's all got a purpose. You know, don't go up and be a one-man band with the kazoos and the drums flaring, because nobody will understand what you're trying to do. You know, it's all about being natural, which is weird. Because how do you be natural being a fake person? But you're not really fake, right? You kind of have another headspace where the ways that you're doing make sense in that headspace. And that's what you're presenting. And that's why I think the best place to start off, at least talking about acting, is talking about creating a character, because everything else kind of flies from that, right? How do you memorize so many lines? Well, certain lines are going to be more expressive than others, and you can figure that out. You know, this is the meaning that I need to get out in this paragraph. As long as that's there, even if I forget an entire line or something, I'll have it. And then eventually, the more you practice it, you won't even forget those lines anymore. They'll be natural. Because that is what makes sense. Yeah, I'm not trying to say, for example, that whatever the author of your play wrote is the Bible and nothing can be changed. Every word is perfect. But you should really not try and rewrite as much as you can, just because we can kind of assume that whoever wrote it for a reason as well. And you kind of have to put yourself in their headspace a little bit, you know, because that's the clues you have to go off of. Even if you saying it doesn't really make sense. The character you're playing, since he wrote it in there, it makes sense for them to say it. Like, I'm not a guy very enthusiastic about sports, but if I play a guy that's enthusiastic about sports, it needs to be the best freaking thing in the world. You know, I can kind of project little ideas in my head, like, oh, maybe instead of me talking about sports, maybe it's sort of like when Fwipp Real Person talks about video games, or Magic the Gathering, or acting, you know? Acting's the biggest thing in the freaking world for him, so if I can kind of put that emotion into the way this character over here is talking about sports, you know, holy map, that billiards game, you know, it came right down to the last dart, and as soon as it was in the board, you could just hang your head in shame, boys, because it was over. You know? Do I care about darts? Not a little bit. But I can kind of take the emotions that I'm already familiar with and put them in there. That's even something else. But like I said, that's all about a character, because emotions are the tools we have to give meaning to how we should express it. But to figure out what you're trying to express, it all comes back again to creating a character. Even if you're in the middle of an improv session, right? Anything can happen. The best thing I can think of is, even if, like, boom, the scene changes and, you know, suddenly you're in a film noir, you know, the character you're playing still has certain ways to move, you know, certain things he just wouldn't say or would say, or how he would react. And you gotta flow with it. So, you know, even though it's a really open-ended thing, there's still a character you're playing there. And it all kind of makes sense, even when the situation doesn't make sense. Because let's be honest, even in real life, you know, chaos happens, you know. If you walk down the middle of a street and a parade walks by, and you had no idea it was going to be there, you're going to react to it, and who knows how, which way. But like I said, kind of figure out what the instincts are going to be, you know, and how you're going to express it, and that sort of thing. Always read through scripts first. Always kind of put yourself in the mindset of the character you're envisioning. And chances are, even if you're envisioning something that the director didn't see coming, maybe they can work with that, you know. I mean, they can work with you. Always take their suggestions and work off of them, because it's really back and forth of suggesting what'll work the best for this scene to keep up the energy and really work with what's going on. Because, you know, you might have a substance ball of what this play could be, and then whatever other people bring to it with their different inputs, or, you know, maybe I envision this character to be the manipulative one, you know? You know, the director's going, well, I never thought of that, but this guy, he's got some ideas. Let's see how that flies off the other characters, too. You know, maybe they'll end up being a subplot nobody thought of that you can just work in there. There's so much stuff, you know, you can even have subtext. Anything. I've seen Shakespeare plays rewritten as westerns. You know, you can do anything with a script. But it all comes down to meaning, expression, having a character, and trying to make it all make sense. Everything has a reason. And that's why we express things. Because what we're trying to give to the audience is something real. Because when you make it real, up on stage, the best part of it, I think, even when I'm somebody watching a play, is then I can kind of think about, wow, you know, how would I react? How do I feel about these people? How does this reflect upon my own life? Because to me, plays are really like, well, it's going to sound weird, but it's almost like, it's a philosophy type thing. You kind of go and you think about your own life through this play. I'm not trying to say it's an Aesop's fable and everything's got a moral, but people don't think about their lives very much in day-to-day life, and I think theatrical plays and things of that nature really give them an opportunity to rethink things, or at least it does to me, and that's one reason why I think it's important. And I hope that my suggestions here on at least ways to think about it, or things you can do with it, will help you out. And I will see you all in the next episode, whatever it happens to be. Please leave your suggestions in the comments. I read them all. And I will try to get back on to you on more ways that we can talk about acting in a productive way so that we can all get better. This is Fwipp, signing out.